Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome to the channel and welcome to the first issue of Imperium magazine. Now, as per usual, if you like these videos, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys, it goes a massive way to help the channel too. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So, issue 1, finally here. It's a day later than it should have been because of it just wasn't available in the area where I live. So nobody had it delivered. I don't know why, I don't know what had happened, but they all arrived today pretty much everywhere. And I managed to pick this copy up when I'm on my way to work. So I'm really happy, and yeah, happy days. So what are you getting for your first $2.99? So for $2.99 you get a double-sided small playmat, which has objective markers on there and a few extra bits and pieces. You also get a large poster, which is pretty cool, and you also get 6 white dice, a range rule, 2 bases, and of course your 2 models for those bases. So you get a Necron Royal Warden, which is a pretty cool, unique looking character, and it also has its own unique look to it, which is the main thing, which is what you want really from your Necrons. They look iconic as standard Necrons and are very distinguished as well. And for your forces of good, you get a Space Marine Primaries Lieutenant, another one very iconic looking, into the iconic Space Marine look, but with a few new embellishments to it. So we'll go through that in a moment, but really good stuff. And I'm looking forward to getting these guys built, painted, and I'll share the results with you as well. Now, into the issue itself. So we have the Primaries Lieutenant greeting us on the first page. So Primaries Lieutenants are veteran Space Marine officers. They are key members of each chapter's command structure. Each lieutenant is an expert tactician and strategist, as well as an experienced and skilled warrior. They can be found wherever fighting is thickest, bellowing orders and directing the fire of their battle brothers. So a Primaries Lieutenant's standard war gear includes the Neo-Volkite pistol, which is a modern version of an ancient Imperial weapon. It fires rays of heat that can burn through armour and melt flesh. They have, of course, their personal heraldry and purity seals, which adorn their armour, items and shield, which is pretty cool, and their heraldry is displayed on a tilt shield, which is mounted on their chest. They have helmet markings which show their rank and their station in the Space Marines chapter. They carry storm shields that can turn aside fire from even the heaviest of weapons, and they also carry a master-crafted power sword, which is their standard kind of melee weapon, as opposed to say like a knife or one of the chainswords that they carry. Really good stuff though, and they look pretty damn cool as well at the same time, and it's a nice pose. Having that action pose looks really good with this character as well, so really good fun. On the back of that page, this is something where it varies very differently from Mortal Realms. You can bring your models to a bit of life and give them a history and a record of what goes on. So you can include creating a name for them. It gives you an example where you can use, if you roll one of your dice and you use the name that is on there, and then the same for their title, and then the same for the names of their weapons and their shield, and then you can choose what they want on your purity seals and their battle record as well, for instance. So when you're playing through, if you are the first to win against the Royal Warden with your Space Marine, you can write down his record of battle, so whether how he killed him, how he whatever he did or anything like that as well, which is pretty cool, and really good stuff. And you can also kind of have a few extra battle records in there as well. You are going to run out of space of this if you're going to play quite a lot with it, so you can always photocopy that page, or you could create a bit of a notepad with it all in if you wanted to. So you can have a lot of good fun with that. Moving on, we have the Royal Warden, the Noble Commander. So Royal Wardens are Necron nobles who act as battlefield commanders. Though they are utterly loyal to their superiors, they have independent thought and are capable of adjusting the strategy of their warriors to ensure victory. So Royal Wardens bear command nodes upon their skeletal forms. These devices broadcast for command signals that allow them to control vast armies of lesser warriors. They are made of living metal, which flows to heal battle damage, and all Necrons bear on their bodies the Ankh of the Triarch as well, which is a symbol of the ancient Necron race. And they also have their armour adorned with the colours and heraldry of their dynasty. And for instance, the heraldry for the Necron warrior that they've painted up is of the Skeres Khan dynasty. Probably said that completely wrong, but really cool stuff. They also carry their main weapon, which is the Relic Gauss Blaster, which can reduce foes to atoms, which is a pretty cool and beastly looking weapon as well. And they have their different embellishments as well, which are expertly crafted and adorned upon their living metal bodies. Also, you can create your battle records for these guys as well, so you can create their names and their titles, and what their kind of Ankh and everything like that, and their epithet, for instance, and whichever their degradation is and everything like that as well. So really good stuff, and quite interesting to have a read through that and to be able to kind of incorporate some history and lore to each individual model is actually really good fun, and a massive difference from Age of Sigmar as well. Then we have the Space Marines. So Adeptus Astartes, known by most as the Space Marines, are one of mankind's most powerful fighting forces. They have defended the Imperium with courage and honour for thousands of years, inflicting terrible defeats upon humanity's many foes. The Space Marines are the greatest symbol of Imperial strength and military power, armed with some of the deadliest weapons and equipment available to the armies of the Imperium. They strike against mankind's foes with speed, skill, and overwhelming force. Though their numbers are few, each Space Marine is a living weapon. The bodies of the supremely skilled warriors are enhanced by genetic modification, and their minds are armoured against fear, doubt, and despair. So, if you weren't already aware what Space Marines are, they are a genetically engineered and modified super soldier with these big armour plates. They are bigger than your average human, and they are more skilled. They generally don't need a lot of rest. They generally don't need to eat food on a regular basis, but they do actually consume nourishment, which is normally provided within parts of their armour and everything like that as well, which is pretty weird but pretty unique as well at the same time. And they are, of course, kind of led along by the masters of mankind. So this includes the Emperor, who is the founder and figurehead of the Imperium. He created the Space Marines for the purpose of conquering the galaxy and defending humanity's territories. He is now little more than a decaying corpse. What little remains of his mind and body is kept alive by ancient arcane machinery. So he's kind of hooked up to all this machinery that is essentially keeping him alive to an extent, but he's actually decaying because he's thousands of years old. Then we have Reboot Guilliman, who is one of the Emperor's Primarchs, a superhuman created by the Emperor to lead his armies. Humans are made into Space Marines using the genetic material of a Primarch. Guilliman is this Primarch of the Ultramarines, and as the last Primarch known in the Imperium, he is its Lord Commander. And you also have a few chapters as well, so there are over 1,000 chapters of the Space Marine armies, which are kind of like your storm hosts essentially. So you have things like the Ultramarines, which are your standard blue to colour, which is what this magazine will go through as your painting guide. You have Hammers of Dawn, you have Blood Angels, you have White Panthers, Silver Templars and Dark Suns listed here. There are also a lot of others, of course. So whether that is, of course, the Dark Angels, whether you're going to go for the Iron Fists, Black Templars, anything like that as well. Really good stuff. A lot to choose from. So whichever colour scheme you want to go for, pick wisely, or get multiple issues and have fun with it and paint whichever colour scheme you want to go for, or create your own chapter, which is always a possibility and always an option for you. So moving on now, we have the Necrons here. So For 60 million years the Necrons have slumbered. As they have lain dormant, the stars have moved through the heavens, and countless empires have risen and fallen to ruin. Now the Necron race stirs from its long sleep, intent on reclaiming the galaxy and eradicating all that stand before them. So, the Necrons are a race of android killing machines, who long ago traded bodies of flesh and blood for deathless forms that made from living metal. For millions of years they have lain in stasis in vast tomb complexes beneath the surfaces of worlds they once called their own. Though many Necrons still slumber, others have awoken, aroused by the machinery and mechanical failure of their stasis crypts, natural disasters, or by the presence of trespassers within their sanctums. So, with the Necrons, they are a very ancient race. They all slumbered for a long time, and they are now waking up in their thousands. A lot of them, the idea was that they'd all be called and woken up at the same time and be able to invade every place and kind of conquer the galaxy in one fell swoop, but that hasn't gone to plan because some of the tombs have been lost, some of the signals are not there, the stars have shifted around in the galaxy, so not everything is where they thought it would be when they slumbered, in all honesty as well. So, with the Necrons, they are of course they were not always soulless androids. Once they were the Necron tier, a race obsessed with death. Having started a war they could not win, they bargained with ancient star gods and were granted robotic immortality in exchange for their souls. And they have dynasties as well. So each dynasty is ruled by a Necron lord and their noble underlings. Though all are subservient to the Silent King, some Necron dynasties see themselves as superior to their rivals, and conflicts between them is not actually unheard of. And the Silent Kings were the rulers of a Necron tier, and after their transformation into metallic immortals, the last of the Silent Kings, Skarek, probably spelled that completely wrong, ordered the Necrons to retreat to their stasis crypt, where they would slumber until the time was right to rise up and conquer the galaxy. So, really good stuff. Really interesting bits of lore and history to do with 40k as well, which is really good stuff. Then we get information on how to build your models. So, how to build your first models, they're really easy. These are push fit models, so no glue required. Just literally slap it all together essentially. Just make sure you're neatening it up where you need to neaten it up, and you can have a lot of fun with this bad boy. So really good stuff. We are of course going to get over how to paint stuff as well and everything like that. So whether you're a beginner or an expert, you're going to get a lot of information. This is just giving you a bit of information about the colour system and how Citadel paints work, just like we did in the first issue of Mortal Realms, for instance. So really good stuff. And then you get your first kind of walkthrough of your playthrough. So it is a game unlike any other, of course, as well. So this will give you your first bits and pieces. So it's detailing what you're going to need, what you're going to want, and everything like that as well. So whether it is wound markers, objective markers, or any of the above, your range ruler, your dice, your battle mat, and of course you're going to need a copy of a magazine because you're going to need to follow it if it is your first game, and you're going to need your models, painted or unpainted, entirely up to you, but this is how you're going to get playing through this as well. So you will get mission briefings, so your mission briefing will give you your rules, your setup, and how everything is going to play through, and it is going to walk you through it step by step as well, in examples, just like Conquest did, just like Mortal Realms did, and then you can play through and kind of get going with it, which is about time and really good stuff. That is not all with the magazine. We also got the first pullout, which is for War for Ramessus. So it is one of the many war zones in 40k, and we have a pretty cool battle line that has been drawn, whether it is fire support, commanders and veterans, Necrons going up against everything. Really good stuff and quite interesting as well. So we have the Necrons and their invasion that they ploughed through. So throughout the Pariah Nexus, the metallic Necron legions of the Silent King are engaged in a vicious war against the Imperium. And then we have a bit of information about the Ramosus system, which lies within the Pariah Nexus, and a region of space that has been transformed into a war zone as well. And then we also have the Imperial Task Force that has been sent forth to combat the Necrons as well. So really good stuff. It's really cool. It's nice to see this all in the first issue. And then, of course, for next issue, we're going to get Necron Warriors, a new playthrough. We'll get Rune Lord Brass, and the first paintbrush that you're going to get. So it is enough to kind of get you going with the Necrons. Really good stuff. The second issue should be 2 weeks away, if I remember rightly. So not next week, so you will see another video for Imperium the week after next. I will paint up my model, so in the meantime, when I can actually finally settle on a paint scheme that I want to go for. But yeah, enjoy yourselves, have fun. Let me know in the comments down below if you've picked up a copy of the magazine, what you think of it, how much you're looking forward to it, if you're looking forward to it. If you're not picking it up, let me know why. But I would love to hear back from you guys. But otherwise, thank you very much for joining me on this first issue of Imperium magazine, and I'll see you very soon. Bye bye now.